What's going on, everybody? We're beach fishing for Coho live here off possession. Gonna try and come in and out. My camera is working, but the microphone lapel is not. So if you guys want to know where this is at, this is Possession Bait Box on Whidbey Island, right on the front side, directly across essentially from our shipwreck area. We are just about at low tide and starting to see maybe a little action going on. So I'm going to show you guys kind of how I like to do it. It's really fun with live herring. See what's going to happen. Nothing so far today, but I'll go through the full gear and everything and show what's happening. I'll bounce back and forth here between showing guys what's going on and kind of running through what I'm doing. These fish are running only 15 to 20 feet out, and there are a lot of bullheads as well as crab. So depending on how close you are to the bottom, you can find those too. But it's go time for some big coho. So let's see what we can put one on the bank. If I can sit on the camera, you're gonna get a lot of these too, getting close to the bottom. There we go. First one. Give him a little snack to go home with. Little tiny guys. This one fell through the hook, but we're fishing live herring under a float here for coho. See what happens. Okay, I'll try it. See the float while I talk to you guys about this. It's really cool. So my float is, I don't know, probably 15 yards offshore where that starts to drop off. These coho run right here off the point really close. Years past, you don't even really have to cut out super far. We're running just our standard salmon steelhead float setup, 10.5 foot rod, 65 pound float braid, probably 3 foot leader. And we're just waiting to see. We got enough little bit of current starting to move again. It's a really fun fishery if you've never done it. But what's cool is it's also kind of opportunity those that also want to do floating frozen herring. It's essentially the same thing. The bait box is just really special because you can buy them here live, but the same exact float setup, and it's really, really cool to fish with a floating herring regardless whether live or frozen, because Coho absolutely loves smashing these things, especially right up against the beach. This is one of my most favorite things to do when the time allows for it. You can do it off the piers too. When we get this later part of the season starting to happen, the Coho will come by a lot of our piers, and the bait always seems to do a little bit better than the buzz bombs and everything else. So I usually let this drift, I don't know, probably 10 feet below where I'm standing, and then we'll cast up and do it all over again. What's going on, everybody? Let's see if we get a new one. Now, it's really reasonable as far as the cost out here to get yourself a little bit of herring and get fishing. You only need really half a dozen if you don't have an aerator. The bucket you see down here is one from Cabela's, and it's got a little aerator to it. And I'll kind of go through more of a how-to video on this, kind of updated from a couple years ago. But I found this little pocket aerator to be really economical, very easy to use, and frankly, it keeps your bait alive. So instead of just blowing through a ton of herring, they are a little smaller this year, so that is a little bit more challenging to keep them on the hook, but you can essentially pin the head in the current and you start to reel. It'll allow for more spin on it to kind of cut plug it. And in the past, I tell you, this has been so fun to just slowly reel when the slack tide starts to come around, and you can watch the fish chase the herring right up to the shore and smash it. So really, really fun. We'll try and look at any comments if you guys are pushing those through here in a little bit. I'm going back and forth. What we got here. You can hook them a couple different ways, and I'll try and show you. On some of them, their mouths are so thin, I try and go through the top to the bottom like that, and then put a couple bait buttons on it to hold it in place. Definitely a lob cast. You don't try and rip these. I do have some frozen herring, so I'll show you how to rig those here in a little bit too. We're just a part of the change of the tide where we should get some push of fish moving, but this is a lot of fun. King of the bullheads. But they love eating those little guys. Show you guys how to do this. These are a bit tricky, but there's a paper thin little nose hole right next to the eyes there. And once you put that through, you can get a little rubber disc like this bait button here, and you shake them down. And it will pull out. You just push it up. So now, I wasn't really in focus, sorry. There you go. Now he's pinned on. You're not gonna kill him. So something I wanted to share, since it looks like we got about 30 people here watching. Appreciate you guys. So right up in shore, kind of right where my float is off the rod tip there, is about 10 feet. But just on the other side where those buoys are on that line, a little bit more current showing right now, kind of setting up the tide. And I've just now seen 2 roll right on that line. So hopefully we'll get some of those coho to push in. There might be pinks around, but most of what we're going to see coming off here is definitely going to be coho. So we're going to try. I thought this would be kind of fun. I haven't done a live stream before, but wanted to show you guys something I love to do. And if we can get a fish, it's an absolute bonus. Let's see what happens. see what happens on this cast. Got it out there a little further. Again, we're right on that drop-off line. Where in the past, you know, I've definitely had doing that, but sometimes they're out deeper, which I know this year's Coho run is kind of like the East, where there's a lot more fish accessible by the boat anglers. Good and bad, but these deep fishing opportunities nowadays, one of the weird ones where we got actual rain. So I don't know if that's going to do anything. I don't think it was any significant amount, but it was enough to potentially move around. My hope is that we can hook like I did before I did this. We got two really nice fish right at the tide chain, so I'll probably stream this for like an hour total, see what's going on. I've been here about an hour, but a lot of fun just being out here, enjoying the Northwest. Appreciate you guys tuning in with us. Show you guys real quick. Again, just your standard float setup. Steelhead rod. Use this thing for everything. Nothing really different than just float fishing for salmon in a river. I'm going to show you guys just kind of how I like to set this up. You know, you get your standard float, I got 3/4 ounce of weight, about a 3 foot a leader, and just your little standard Snell loop bait rigs. This guy's been beat up by those bullhead, but that's all we're fishing. Trying to fish some active fish. So I did see a couple people at the beginning of this ask about wanting to come out here and try and do it. It's definitely one of the most fisheries I've done from the shore when the fishing's really good. And what I would recommend if you are going to try this out, with the way the tides play out, super high tide is really going to be tough because there's not a ton of beach when this is really pushed in. So the tide that we're on right now is like a 7.5. So I think any of these tides that are in that 7 to 10 foot height are pretty easy to access the beach. I mean, you don't have to wear waders. I wore them today just because of the rain. But it's something fun. Get your kids out here and do. We saw the comment there. We're over at Woodby Island off the front of Possession today. Trying something that I haven't done in a few years, but this is the time of our running. Yeah, I will show the setup again. Essentially, we got just your standard float setup, like you would for the river. When I rig here, I'm going to re-rig a herring, and I'll show you guys that. I've seen a few roll, but I have not heard of any caught today. So full tide change, there'll be a few more around to be caught, but I'll show you rigging one of these up again. Get this in frame for you. The herring took a beating, but he's still kicking. But essentially, we got 2 3/0 Gamakatsu barbless hooks. You can see how he's pinned with those bait buttons on the nose. It allows them to swim around, and you don't tear them off. So these honestly will last way longer. There's a lot of people that don't put stuff on them, and they fall right off. So fun way to do it. This guy's on his last leg, so we're going to keep fishing him till he's gone. But at least we've caught a couple bullhead to keep us interested. There are some coho around. It just seems like they're pushed offshore this year. So we'll see if we can get anything up and running close. Now, a couple people ask what the essentials to do this, and if you do want to come out here, I will end up putting the spot here. It's really not hard to look it up. It is definitely popular enough, so no secrets with the possession bait box. But there's a few key things I really think in order to fish, whether frozen or live herring, you're gonna have best success with, and one of those is this guy. This is a bait button dispenser. It has a little rubber disc that come down on the front of the tire, and you can just lay your hook right into those and pull through. That will help keep any of your herring on the hook probably 10 times longer than without and having them swim off. But that's been a key factor, as well as the bucket here with the aerator. Spending that extra, I think it's like $10 for the lid and another $8 for the little aerator that's powered by batteries. Honestly, keep that same bucket and use it on the boat when we're fishing live bait for lingcod, but it works great as well here. But if you like to fish the frozen herring too, I use these bait buttons. They have a little bit bigger size that I like. It's got an orange casing. That one works really well for the frozen ones because you can put a little more pressure to pin them together and keep them on the hook. These herring this year are very, very small. So a lot of these fish are probably label, maybe even some are a couple orange label. So it makes it a little harder to stay on a 3/0 size hook. But if you had 2/0, you're probably fishing perfectly. And it's just a normal bait loop setup that I like to run. So you can kind of see the transition in color. It's starting to rain a little bit, so I apologize. But there's a buoy there, and there's another buoy just down this way. So I usually use those as a gauge. You're going to see a lot of the fish that travel in tight to shore are about 25 feet off most of the time. And you will get them with herring just sitting there and running around. You can sometimes even see the herring flopping around trying to get out of the water. Typically you can see they're getting spooked when that starts happening. But you can get fish as well on the reel end as they start spinning. But this is a really fun way to do it. In that part where there's a lot more coho starting to show, and that real big push is going to come as well in the next couple weeks, if not sooner. So we're right on the verge here of the Coho Derby, so this is game time. If you guys like to fish off the beaches, Whidbey Island is an absolute place to go to get yours. We'll keep trying. can see what I mean by little orange labels. They're tiny, but that is a perfect snack for a big old coho. I want to hear from you guys that are in the chat. Have you guys been getting any off the beaches at all? I really haven't got out for coho since, honestly, the end of August. My last time out with a boat. I know a lot of people are doing well. Beaches are a fun way to do it. What's cool, when these tides start moving a little bit more here, landing, I don't really know swim, to be honest, all that much, but I'm sure there are some spots. Maybe some people can definitely let you guys all know. I'll look in for you. What I was getting at with the current is this almost fishes in a lot of ways like the river, where you can drift side to side. It's kind of a little bit with the current ways, but crap, Kyle. Sorry to hear that. Should be getting better here soon. Well, they're flushing in the rivers, but there's a lot of coho coming. I'll recast it. I do believe that this episode will post live when it's done. But something I am going to do as well is take a combination of some of my past coho salmons. I'm going to put them all together as kind of one continuous one, because there was a couple really good ones for the beach specific of coho, with getting set up for some float fishing for them, alternatives, the buzz bombs, the rotators, kind of the whole 9 yards of it. But if there's ever something you guys truly want to see covered, just let me know. You can always shoot me an email or something. I definitely enjoy sharing what I can. Help you guys put some more fish on the bank. But kind of is a little more fishing today than the catching, but appreciate you all being here, truly. Maybe we can start more of a weekly live. You guys let me know what you think. that rain's starting to come again, so I don't know how much longer I'm gonna endure it, but that little guy's still kicking out there, and that's just the beauty of the bait button. And I started really trying to vary between, you know, right up against the float, about 3 feet a leader, to extending it a foot or two, but having that coming down there freely. Those Coho are gonna come up to it. I'd take 80 degrees in this right now. The steam rain is not the best. Oh, probably a bite there, but we'll kind of let it play out and see what happens. Something's biting it. Something's definitely tapping it. Come on, you. Let's get the fish on camera. It'll be awesome. Just as I say that, I got stolen, but that's what we're looking at right there of the hook spacing. Now that the slack has started to roll again, we got a ton of seaweed coming back in. what happened. Probably gonna be my last one. So that little guy is gone. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, should we do more of the live streams? I know there's some stuff I definitely want to go more in the how-tos on a live stream style, but I like the idea of trying to get on the water and do it as well, especially on the boat. There's a lot of cool stuff about ready to happen. Our Coho fishing that already bit here. 5 over. Those things right out there, the giant stellar sea lions. Might have to put the nail in the coffin there by getting a group of stellar sea lions to go right by the beach. I don't know if you guys saw that. Well, we'll go 10 minutes here and make it straight out on this live stream. I really appreciate everybody who tuned in. fun, something new for me to do. Show you guys a little fishery that may not be so known. But float fishing for herring, chasing those coho off the beach is a blast. Now, something too we might try and do is revisit this like another week. I don't know if there's going to be much that changes with this terrain that happens, or if we're just going to have to focus more towards the rivers, but there's definitely some coho around. Sounds like some awful clear. Really good. You know, 3 days ago I think it was. So, coming waves off the beach. Definitely getting now the push of all the gunk and debris, so might have to call it here in a minute. The little guy's still on there, if you can believe it. Little guy, still trooper. line, sinker. It's not happening today. That's fishing. Tight lines. God bless.